A few years back, at an annual meeting, there was a discussion. One of the discussions was endowment. The endowment fund, how that should be used. We have X number of monies in an endowment fund, and it was used a certain way to serve people. There was a heated discussion of how the endowment fund should be used in terms of using principal, using interest only, and it went on for about 10 minutes until we realized that our goal was the same. Our goal was to help people, to serve people with the financial means that we had. We missed the big picture and saw that there are more than one way of serving people, of loving people. Oftentimes, mission trips have good intentions, but sometimes they don't take into consideration the people's needs or what they want. Sometimes it's our own desires, our own feelings of what we feel they should have, and so we go out and we serve out of our hearts, out of love, but the people don't benefit from it because it's missing the mark. If there's a conversation of what do you need, and it may be different than what I was thinking about giving, there's a difference there. Another example is when I meet with couples, marriage counseling, I ask them how they best are loved, feel like they're being loved. Is it being with each other? Is it getting little gifts? Is it getting notes? Signs of appreciation, spoken words. Gary Chapman has a book, The 5 Love Languages, and that's just a part. To understand how I can best show my love and appreciation for you, that you'll understand it and it'll be meaningful to you. Showing a love for our neighbors. We have mandates from Jesus. Wash each other's feet. And I imagine in that culture and that custom, yeah, you did wash feet because you're walking in sandals in the dust and the dirt and your feet get dirty. For us, it's you go into the home, you take your shoes off, and then you walk around the house in your stocking feet or your slippers or something like that. But it was very much a part of the culture, is washing feet. But for us, it's not so much that. And so we have to look into what that exactly means for us. What does washing another's feet do for us? And right now, we also have a mandate. Wash your hands. A lot. More than you normally would, and longer than you normally would. What is it, 20 seconds or something like that? You sing a couple songs, happy birthday 2 or 3 times or whatever that is, that you can wash your hands when you're out and about or just in general. One is easy to do. One, not so much. One requires no vulnerability whatsoever. You wash your hands, you're fine. The others is a lot of vulnerability, especially for us in our culture. Washing feet, something we just don't do. So it's a little bit awkward for us. It seems almost intrusive in some ways. But that culture was not. It was accepted, and that's the way things were done. And for us, you wash your feet maybe once a day when you take a shower or bath, but you wash your hands several times a day. One shows regard for our physical being, washing your hands, and washing your feet too. But Jesus is talking about spiritual depth, spiritual health. We wash our hands to be healthy physically. But if you look at it a little bit more closely, we wash our hands so that we don't get sick, but also that we're not infecting other people as well. So in other words, we're loving not only ourselves, but we're showing love for others because we're washing our hands. It seems self-centered, but really it's not. You know, I grew up a hugger. My mom was a hugger. She was a bear hugger. And so am I. And I find my cousins are too. Mom's family, we're all bear huggers. They're all bear huggers. But the other side of my family is not so much. And some people just don't get into hugs. But for me, it's an expression of connection, of love, of tenderness, of touch. Others don't need that necessarily or don't want that necessarily. And yet they love people in their own way, and how it works is different than how I express it. Jesus' mandate covers the bases of all the cultures. If you look beyond the foot washing into what Jesus is really talking about, showing love for your neighbor and being able to show that love that is meaningful to them as well as to yourself. It may be a little different. I have to refrain from hugging my brother or my dad so much because they don't really want to do that so much. They will, but some people don't find that they need that kind of a thing. So it's a matter of understanding cultural norms and personal biases and personal space and all those kinds of things. You know, because right now we're social distancing, what I call physical distancing. And for me, it's very strange. It's very difficult. But it's showing love for others that we can't and don't want to spread anything that we don't need to spread to anybody else. We don't need to have the virus going from person to person to person if we can help it. So physical distance is what we need. That's a way of showing our love for each other. If this is a way of including you in our worship service via Facebook, via website, however that is, then we do that. Showing our love via different ways. It'll connect maybe in some ways that we never thought of, or connect with people we didn't connect with before. Jesus is mandating that we love each other. And how we do that, it varies. There's a lot of different ways of showing our love for each other. And Jesus, throughout his ministry and mission, showed his disciples and the people around him the many ways that he loved them. Some was communication, some was physical touch, some was words, others were touching and healing, and teaching, and those kinds of things to bring healing and love to a hurting world. And so for us, we're finding new ways of showing that mandated love that Christ talks about. And we know that throughout our lives that even though we seem like we're alone physically, we're not alone spiritually, ever. Because Jesus has offered to his disciples and to all of us, has given us the presence of the Holy Spirit within us so that he can continue to love us in unconditional ways. Amen.